Hey, and welcome back to the Crochet Crowd live here, home studio. I'm working on some homework for Crochet Cruises 2025. I wanted to run a sample of a mini blanket. And so I'm just starting the journey to do that. So we're launching our tickets on Friday for the cruise. So I have to start working ahead. So yeah. So anyway, we're making our way throughout the whole process of doing this. So if you want to say hello, you can. Something is on your mind, we'll try to answer you as much as you can. I am on my laptop or my desktop, so I can see a lot more comments that I can than when I'm on a phone. So if you are going to talk to me, just make sure that you keep the conversation pretty brief, because it doesn't show me like long novels of stuff, so you can be aware of that. So if I miss it, I miss it. So, and I'm not going to catch every comment because I am looking up and down for following the pattern as well. And I'm doing some counting. So I am deciding what I want to do I saw an idea. It was one of my patterns. And so we have Crystal's already here joining us today. So she's first up. And so what's on your mind? 1, 2, 6, 9, 10. So anyway, I have an existing pattern that I want to alter for the cruise. So I'm just working it out in my head, and I'm also using Red Heart Super Saver Ombre. And there we go. So loving the color of hair. I know, stupid, right? I'm like a typical man. I'm losing my hair, so I want to just dye it when I can before it's all gone, right? So anyway, so so I have my crochet diagrams in front of me here. And there we go. So we have Groovy Day Baby is here. Scorpio Love. We have Stickbug, Angelique, and Elizabeth is commenting on my hair today. And so let me just get this. Here we go. We're going to chain 2. And then we're going to do, is it a popcorn? It's a popcorn. So yeah. Okay, so anyway, kind of just making my way through here. Just watching who's Karen. Yeah, so Karen is my new kind of video partner in crime. So a lot of people don't know where she's come from or how I know her. We have a lot of history together. And she's from the same world that I am. So am I working on the stitch along? I should be, but I'm not. Don't tell anybody, Elizabeth. I should be totally doing that. I am struggling with ADHD right now. Like, my brain is all over the place. Yeah. And so anyway, I'm just kind of jumping from thing to thing to thing. It's almost like it's work in progress, like creating more and more shit. That is just, yeah. So left to Texas. I left Texas last fall. Oh, Jeanette, you left Texas? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So Jeanette, I know in person. And what else we got? Loving the picture behind me. So that's Adam Young. He is a painter. That's not a real thing. That's not a real painting, though. He's a painter out of Newfoundland. Foger Island is a very expensive place to live. Anyway, he's a super talented artist, and I love his coloring and his imagery, really. Finished the Lamino drama if it wasn't for you. So what was it about the Lamino drama that was the hang up for you? So Stickbug cannot focus on one project. I usually be able to, but it's just really bad. I can't seem to focus on much these days. Okay, I'm crocheting an Afghan with Red Heart Buff. I don't know what that Tree of Life. What's Red Heart Buff? I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Is that an older yarn? So Elizabeth says that crocheters probably have more than one crochet thing going on at the same time. So if you want to let us know where you're from, you may actually have a neighbor here that you are doing that with. I know for our live events, when we do them, people don't realize that people are local. And on Jeanette's cruise that she was with us, There was actually a cousins that never knew about each other at all, period. And they connected and they sat together and they realized that they had the same grandfather. And it turns out that they didn't even know about each other. But so they took a photograph together on the ship. And when you see them side by side, it's family resemblance big time. So they were trying to piece together their history once they realized that they were related. And I think was kind of funny about that. So we have Alabama in the house, North Carolina, first time live, long time crocheter, says Rick. Rhode Island, happy to see me in the house. So we have Kelly, thank you for coming today. And from Virginia is in the house. And I'm from Nova Scotia, for those that don't realize that. I'm Canadian, eh? So we've just come out of a long weekend. I know our American friends are going to head into a long weekend. Really, well, are they though? Long weekend? Yeah. No, it's probably midweek for them, right? So Tuesday. So you guys have your Thursday, right? Yeah. Thursday is your holiday. Okay, so we have Dayton, Ohio in the house, says Lisa. And I hate when the holidays follow on a weekday. Not that I'm self-employed, not that it matters, but when I actually did have a real job of like 9 to 5, I hated when it was in the middle of the week because you'd be off and then you have to report back the next day. I kind of like it when it's been pushed to a weekend. The one job I worked at, we had Canada Day, and the Canada Day where I used to live used to be a big to-do, and they had the festivals and the whole 9 yards. So our workplace decided to say that you're working on Canada Day, which was a Thursday, and then you were off the next day, but then you missed all the activities. And I was kind of like, bitch. Anything to bitch about, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So anyway, that was first world problem, right? Please explain the Christmas cookie crochet along. So the Christmas cookie crochet along will start, signups will start tomorrow. And what this is a crochet along by me. And it is my pattern. And I work together with Yarn Inspirations with their design team to help get the final pattern written. And there will be 4 parts to it in the stitch along. And it starts off with round, and then it goes to a wave, and then it goes back to round. I don't have the sample here. It's still with the photography studio in Ontario. But anyway, I decided to just go with that and see what happens. And then there's a sister to that blanket, which Yarn Inspiration didn't take, which is on my website. It's called The Study of the Empty Chair. And it was more of a darker tone blanket in the sense of why you make it. In Yarn Pepper, we can see you. So anyway, the study of the empty chair was the empty chair at Christmas was the reflection. I got word that somebody close to me was probably on their way out. And so in a dark moment, I designed and crocheted that blanket to help myself grieve through the process of watching them disappear. And anyway, that was earlier this year. So because it's a darker content, there's a lot of people that don't like Christmas because it reminds them of family that was there and it is no longer there. So I wanted to create a blanket that kind of reflected that feeling. So what I'll do here in the comments, I will put the empty chair. I'll put the link for that free pattern. There is no tutorials for it at this time. Empty chair. So anyway, what it was is that I used the exact same colors that's in the Christmas cookies. So I have, so I bought 2 balls of each one of the Christmas cookies and our colors in the Christmas cookies. And I used the second ball to make the study of the empty chair or the empty chair at Christmas there. So anyway, I think a lot of people can do there. They can have that sense of, an Afghan that can be reflective of somebody that they once loved is no longer there for Christmas. Is that too dark? So Delia, are you going to be at the retreat in Alaska? You sound like you are going to be there. I'm not going to get to Alaska until like really late my time zone for sure. I think my time zone, I'm going to get there in the morning, but it's still like late. I think 1 in the morning is when I'm expected to arrive in Alaska, from what I understand. Is there a Lake Tahoe retreat this year? There certainly is, and it's unfortunately sold out, but you can reach out to your Jimmy Bean's Wool to see if there's any spaces that are freed up, but it's in October. And so there we go. So Delia is a member. So yarn prepper, sorry, that was Pepper. Yarn is commenting that her be the first year without her sister. Yeah. So yeah, so we have that going on if you are interested in that. And I'm just trying to get my bearings here on this pattern. So one thing I am good at, which I'm not good at many things, but one thing I'm good at is really creating really fun centerpieces for blankets, and then everything else is a shit show. So I'm just so it's been a while since I crocheted this pattern, so I'm just kind of looking back at there. So anyway, so we have that. So I have the Alaska all set up for you, like as far as pattern. I created a custom pattern just for the Alaska retreat, Delia. And so we got the Mikey and Hayes. If you said Mikey too, then we'd have to have a trouble. Michael is Karen's friend, has been here for less than a week, and he goes home tomorrow actually. And so then I got Karen all back to myself to play on camera with again. So it's been a lot of fun. Just the rivalry between the two of us, but in person we're fine. But online it's another completely different story. It's a whole saga waiting to happen. I had a complaint 2 nights ago that they don't want to see any more of that stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah. But I was literally, my honest reaction though is that I was told by YouTube that you don't get notifications when I push a short tutorial out. Maybe you can tell me that, a short reel. Do you get notification of that? I was told that you don't. So I wasn't worried about it because she said that she doesn't want to get those videos. And I'm like, well, I didn't really think that you got those, but I could be wrong. Things could be updated. But YouTube told me I could push as many as I want because it doesn't notify people. And yeah, so Karen has a dance challenge she wants to do. Is Karen new in the neighborhood? I've seen her the last couple of months. She's been here about a year, almost a year. And anyway, she's an old friend of mine that moved and bought the lot next to us and built a house. So she's an old friend from Ontario. So we have history. Yeah, we get notification on the shorts. Huh. That's new. I was told you don't. Now, how many notifications are you getting? Because I was told that you're only getting a maximum of 3 notifications a year or a day within a 24-hour cycle. So is that changed too, or? Yeah. So you don't get the notification on the shorts. Huh. I don't either. Like if somebody I'm following is doing shorts, I don't get notification either. But that doesn't mean that somebody doesn't have that set. Who knows? Yeah. So Lena's enjoyed watching you. Have a beautiful day. You as well. I don't get notified, but I do get pushed forward in my feed based on what I watch. Yes. Yeah, the algorithm is a monster for that. Just oh. So I got and 4 doubles, 1. So you have to check your settings. I get the notification. I think the videos are hilarious. One who doesn't like them does not have to watch kind of problem. Yeah, I know. I get that too. Uh, yeah, I think it's a nice break. I'm always filming something. The shorts, I've had to learn how to do those things. So I had a contractor that I hired out of New York to help me figure out how to do shorts. And for what they promised me, for what I got, it wasn't worth it. But what I did learn was worth it, if that makes any sense. So they basically promised the skies, the stars, the moon, and I just needed the skies. So I think their over promising kind of really pissed me off a lot, because I'd rather them be honest. Yeah. So I think I paid $700 for the consultation for that. And I talked about that in one of my videos for the social media program. So you stepped into the crochet game with the started a YouTube channel, and as well. Shout out to you all the time. I've learned so much. Yeah, there's, with the YouTube channels, there's room for everybody. This is what really upsets me about YouTube itself. Somebody will start a YouTube channel and then start knocking everybody off, saying, well, blah, 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 blah. I was like, you know what? Just concentrate on yourself. And that's the best way to do. So you received all that were put out when I put out Daniel's shorts. Huh, interesting. Also, what stitch is the bright stripe stitch? Right here beside me. That is a split single crochet and a chain 2. If you want to see what that is, let me pull you that link. That is the yoga bag, and there's a video tutorial that goes with that, which is available now. And that's a really fast bag to be able to make as well. So I will put that out for you now. That's the yoga bag link that I just posted. I see a room box behind you. What is it? I make miniatures as well. So I wanted to do a recreation of my bedroom as a child. And so I wanted to do that. So that was my first miniature I ever made. And so I grew up in a cottage, pretty poor off, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say poor. I would just say that we didn't have money. And so anyway, it was a wood stove to heat the place. But my bedroom had panel walls, and some of the walls were missing their paneling, and you could see the insulation and stuff like that. So I wanted to do an homage to my childhood of my bedroom as a kid. And sometimes you gotta look back in order to appreciate what you have now. And that was kind of my thought process. In the miniatures, I'm doing another miniature. We have a miniature club here in the region. So it meets once a month, and miniature club is next week. So I'm going to be doing another laundry room inside of a soap jug. And that's my concept for this week coming. So one of my personal friends is one of the show contestants from Best in Miniature. It was a Canadian reality series. And her name is Shelly, and she lives here. And so I've become good friends with Shelly. And so I go to her shop all the time, and you can work in her studio and stuff like that. So Karen, you're from, you're going to Alaska, Karen, or are you from Alaska? I think I didn't know if you were from Alaska. So I don't know. So I was one of those, you're one of those families growing up where, the other families have like the satellite, and you didn't have a satellite. You only had 2 TV stations. And if the weather blew out, basically you were stuck with a wood stove making toast on a wood stove until the power came back on, which could be quite some time. And yeah. So my mom and I were kind of talking about that moment in our lives, actually, when I last saw her. And it was kind of interesting. So my mom and I were talking about the past, and so she remembers parts of the past that I don't recall because of my age. And so you realize that, you know, you struggle as an adult now, but your parents also struggled when, you know, finding ways to raise you as a kid too. And I think that was my takeaway from that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You were remote and the vacuum. Okay. I'm crocheting a baby blanket soon to be for a granddaughter. I've been crocheting for 10 years now. I started watching you from the beginning of my journey, which I started doing preemie hats. So you're kind of moving on in your journey. I'm glad that you're pushing yourself. There was years that before the crochet crowd, I would just crochet the same damn thing all the time. And, you know, it seems okay, but I like the mystery of crocheting something new. Even if there's a sample already done on the screen, I like to do it myself just to say that I could. So it's almost like a sense of, it's a sense of accomplishment, really. So miniatures of goals. The miniatures are want to do a little dream house to be. Yeah. See, so I don't want to do doll houses. I want to do like vignettes. I think that's my goal, is just like little scenes like that. They're easier to store here in the house too. And so anyway, 2 of my miniatures are actually at the local spa. Just sitting in the bathroom, just as a showpiece for people to, you know, wash their hands and look at something cool. So there's been quite a positive reaction to it. So I have a new miniature in my head. I've been ordering stuff online to prepare for that. So fall here in Nova Scotia is a huge to-do. Fall festivals everywhere. It's a big deal because our fall is so nice out here in the Maritimes. And we have a lot of tourism that comes in. So I want to kind of recreate fall here in the Maritimes as a sampler, like as a mini concept, a miniature, I should say. So that's kind of my goal too. Lots, always something in the works, I suppose. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done this pattern. It's my own 1, 2, 6, I got 7. Chain 1. Oh, that's missing. Oh, it's right there. Seven. Okay. So is doing samplers, like you said. So I like learning new stitches as I go, and then like, how do I use this stitch in the future? So I have a huge collection of stitch samples of just like swatches and stuff here in the home. So I can kind of look at it just in case I decide to turn that around. So somebody's baking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I had bran muffins for breakfast this morning. Or just one muffin, I should say. And I haven't had lunch yet, and it's 4 o'clock. I've just been kind of working on my own thing. But I am eyeing up a bag of chips. (8 p.m. in the UK. Thanks for all you do. Do you have testers for all your patterns? Yes, we do. We have about 15 testers that go through this stuff. I'm not looking for anybody new because I can barely handle 15 people. So do I organize my swatches? No, I just label them and I just put them on the shelf. And because if I organize them too much, sometimes just fumbling through them gives you ideas. So if they're too organized, then I'll lose them, right? Mikey is amazing. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I don't take a compliment very well, as you know. So learned everything from crocheting the last 8 years. I've done hundreds of projects. So they say the average crocheter does only 7 projects a year. I think I'm definitely higher than that. So are you higher or lower than 7? How many projects do you think you do in a year? So somebody's tufting the cushions on a miniature couch. That's ambitious. So, okay, so definitely higher than 7. Higher than 7. Yarn prepper doesn't know how to count. What pattern is this? The study of rage. This is the beginning of the study of determination. I'm determining whether I want to do this as a community charity project on board the cruise ship. So I'm just doing a miniature swatch. Somebody actually did this pattern and just stopped at the first week, and then they just pieced together all the squares, and it looked absolutely amazing. So that's thanks to them. So I can't say that I created this. I created the pattern, but their concept of how theirs finished looked amazing, and I want to try it myself. So the crocheters for the next crochet cruise next year, they have time to do homework if they want that. So the nice thing about a community project when we do the cruises is that they have something already started and on the way to finishing, so that when they're on the ship, they can stitch and socialize and get to know their fellow stitchers on board. And everybody kind of leaves with a finished project, even if they started at home. I saw you comment on the ladies' blanket. It was super cool. Two, 3, 4. Got to make sure I get my counts right, or the whole thing is going to be messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My dream is to go on a crochet cruise. Yeah, we decided to reactivate them. So quietly was just, so I wanted to stop doing them before the pandemic dropped, and we already booked it to stop it. It was going to be retirement. And then a lot of my closest friends that I have are from people that come on the cruises. And I've kind of missed that. I missed it more than I thought I would. So anyway, so we're restarting that back up. So Daniel does not crochet. He hasn't crocheted in a long time. So you just got back from one. Where did you go for your cruise that you were just on, Tracy? So the hardest thing about the cruise ships now of today's era is that all these brand new, big, beautiful ships, they're not building conference spaces on board anymore, because the conference spaces may not be used every cruise. So that's considered a waste of space. So the newer ships of today are not being built with the space. And so, so we're on an older ship, but we've been on the ship twice before, and I love the ship. It's not very big. It's Celebrity Cruise Lines, so they don't pack in the people like other cruise lines do. And so it's my favorite cruise line of the group, and they're easy to deal with. And the bookings, Carnival is a nightmare, and Carnival is cheaper, but you get exactly what you pay for, which is the customer service. For what I have experienced, has been absolutely a dog's breakfast. And I vowed myself I'd never get back on a Carnival ship. And I know it's cheaper, but as a group, it is a pain in the ass. And you know what they did to me? This is what they did to me. This is my final straw. So it was my 6 crochet crews, and I hadn't already learned from the other 5. And so in our contract, we pay to have it boarded to the ship, all the skids, and then we pay then from the cargo hold to the conference room for housekeeping to move it all up. And so what they did to me is that our stuff was loaded to cargo hold, but the person in the land on the land never wrote in the contract that they received that our stuff was to be moved up to the conference area. And because it was a weekend, there was nobody to call to help me out. And they said, because the land never gave those instructions, they are not following my instructions, which my paperwork said it was going to be moved. And anyway, my agent got on the phone, because I called my agent, and my agent got on the phone. And if that phone had a mouth on it, it was going, and it made the woman cry on board. But I'm like, we have all of this product on board and we cannot have access to it, and we have to wait till a weekday to get our stuff moved back up to, so we could start our program. And I said, never again. That was it. So I know it's a cheaper cruise line, but geez. Yeah. So no one to watch the kids. Yeah, that's, well, you know what? I'm finding a lot of people that come on the cruises, Wendy, are people where the kids have moved out, or the kids are can watch themselves. So maybe in time that'll work out for you. But it's hard to do any kind of event anyway because of that. We have to get a home sitter to move into our house for the entire time we're gone to watch over the dogs. We won't kennel our dogs. And so we have to hope that they're available too. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3. So anyway, that's our story. That's why we don't end it back on thing. Are the prices for the next cruise posted? We have not posted them yet. My agent is actually on her way back from the Arctic. She has been, she took her boy to the Arctic on a cruise ship, and she's currently on a flight coming back. And when she's back, then she can get all of the stuff and the signups and all of that stuff all done. She's been working from the ship back in the Arctic when there's internet. But yeah, so once she's all set up, I think the pricing will be posted earlier before the booking starts, so it gives you an indication if you're interested or not. So we're doing a few things differently on this one that we used to. So 40%, up to 40% of our cruisers end up going back to back. So they stay on board with us for a second run. And what I found is that those second people, we go through the same program twice. And so you could do one or the other. But what we're doing on YouTube membership only is that YouTube membership, the Passport and the Journey members are going to be on cruise number 1 if they want to. And then cruise number 2 is open to the public to join in. So it's an extra appreciation cruise for those that are in the membership to come on a dedicated crochet cruise with me. And I've also limited the class size to 50 people instead of 100 to 140. So it's going to be much smaller, so that we have more one-on-one time, so I can get to know you a little bit better than I can for that many other people, and I can remember names a lot easier too. So that's kind of our mission going forward. I have oven mitts. So what else can you make? I'm making a kitchen set, oven mitts, dishcloths. Grab your cotton yarn and make a drying rig. You could do that. So you had to go back to work, Janet. You do These scrubbies. There's lots of great ideas you can come up with. Just look at your kitchen and say, what do you need? So anyway, so that'll all be launching on Friday. We'll see how it goes there. And because we limited ourselves down to 50 people, we're going to be doing Crochet After Dark, where if you don't get into a workshop, you can still go with us. You're just not part of the workshop program, but we will see you after hours for late night stitch socials. We have a DJ private party that you can come to on board, and etc. So you have to book with our agent though in order to be included in all that, because you'll get a lanyard and the pass to be able to get into our spaces. So the smaller groups, it seems like that. There you go. So Karen does more than 25 projects in a year. I'm not surprised, Karen. You're really quite a talented woman. So you can't wait to meet me. I felt so special to help. Got to reply the snowflake blanket when he responds on YouTube. I just have to live through a screen until then. Yeah. You know, I kind of don't mind that too, though, Tracy. I like keeping people at a little bit of a distance. Today, I actually cut my cord. It's been 3.5 years since I cut cable out of our house. So I was addicted to the US news cycle of watching the people fight about politics. So I cut the cable so I would no longer see cable news. And anyway, so we stream everything. And so we were talking last night around the campfire, and they said, well, why do you still have TV? And I'm like, I don't know, because we're streaming. And they said, you don't need like TV services in order to stream. And I'm like, really? And so anyway, it turns out that's true. So I cut my phone line today, and I also cut my my TV services completely today. So anyway, when I called in, they were offering a hell of a deal to keep the service. And I'm like, well, why in the hell would you not offer that deal before? But the truth is I don't watch that. The workshop's more for newbies. The workshops are for everybody. If I present something that you don't like, you can use the yarn for something else. It's really not a sense of like experience. It's more about the connection of the people. So that's kind of the way that that's the way I see the cruises. And I think Janet can talk to that too. She's been on a cruise where it's about the friendships in the end and the people that you meet. Oh, that's Karen messaging me. She's on a boat cruise right now. She is doing whale watching. So she's reporting in her pictures. We don't want to see her pictures. Who am I kidding? So Daniel had an opportunity to go, but he's outside all having a hissy fit about the pond. He's sitting there tossing one rock and at a time. Yeah. So you've been watching me as a skinnier person. Somebody says to me the other day, said, Jesus, you've aged a lot just within a few years. And I'm like, yep. Tell me about it. I don't know if you hear that bird. That's a cardinal. The whoop, whoop, whoop. It's a cardinal. So I'm counting stitches. I'm converting myself to a square. So I got to count, unfortunately. But now the pattern's in my head, so I get it. I try to design my patterns to have an easy kind of repeating to it so you can kind of relax. So you like my look? Okay then. I know. I'm getting full figured, you know, over here in Nova Scotia. And this crocheter says to me, God, you've been fattening up as you've been getting older. I'm like, oh, sweetie. Show me your younger photo and let me see your difference too. It's the problem when you have an online social life or an online presence like that. Your age gets documented as you go, and the way you look and probably how you feel too, like emotionally. So that's how I survived the winters. Okay, maybe I'll have to, Tracy, I'll have to keep that in mind. This full-figured crocheter needs to survive a winter. Actually, I can buy that excuse. Yeah. I think I'm going to be like many people, though. You live your life and you realize you've gotten fat and that you feel bad about it. And I think you live in perpetual guilt about it. I'm one of those people for sure. And I look at other people and it's like, God, I wish I was skinny, but I don't have the discipline because I'm even contemplating just hammering down a bag of chips at the end of this broadcast today. That's how disciplined I am. There's a storm coming down there. Is there a storm coming down? Not as far as I know, but I don't watch the weather. Is there a storm coming? I really honestly don't know. Oh shit, was that a... it's a back post. All that thinking for nothing. I almost hurt myself with having to think. Way to go. Oh, that's a regular. Oh, I see. Oh. Stupid designer. Who's the designer again? Oh, it's myself. Never mind. It was a brilliant move. Oh, wait a minute. Is that a back post too? No. Frogging is so much funny. Well, you know what? I didn't have to frog too far, so it's okay. Hurricane possibly hitting the top of Florida, most likely Mexico. First category 4 predicted. You know, as a kid, I was like, oh my God, those people live in Florida. They can go to Disney World all the time. But as a kid, you don't realize that people in Florida have to deal with traumatic weather like that. So it's not something I'm envious about, to be honest. As a kid, oh yeah, for sure. But then the reality of adulthood kicks in. And I was like, no, I don't think so. But then a lot of my Florida friends, when there's a hurricane that comes in, they're not panicking about it. I would totally be panicked. It's top of mind. They predicted for Nova Scotia that we're going to have a hell of a storm season up here. So I've been really contemplating that, especially with the outdoor woodwork stuff that I'm working on, that I don't make anything tall. So it has been top of mind a little bit, to be honest. Someone is stationed in Florida and was not a fan. Hurricane Burl. Fake it until you make it. Nobody will know. Elizabeth, that is so right. And if they do know, they need to get themselves a life. Unless it's that obvious, right? But most non-crocheters wouldn't even notice. And as I said, if they do notice, they can get a grip. It's almost like Golden Girls. Get a hold of your. You got to shake your. Get a hold of yourself, Blanche. So Little Treasures. So it's your first time, your first year here. So, so does that make you worried, Nancy, or you're just gonna take it in stride? Our agent that works with us lives in Florida, and she seems pretty calm about the storms that come through. But she's not close to the water, so I think that might be her saving grace. Do you keep all the blankets that you make, Tracy is asking? No, I don't. We have what is called as the Family Resource Center. We have a lot of people that come in through refugee programs, also people that are with visas coming in to our region, which we welcome fine. And there's a lot of immigration coming through here. And so the families are just getting started. So I donate my blankets to the Family Resource Center to pair up my blanket with the family that has arrived here with nothing in their hands. And so it brings me joy. And yeah. And I like the idea because, the way that I see it too is that, I'm a white guy, you can tell that clearly. But, my family was never from Canada. So my family and my ancestors came here from Germany and also from England. And the way that I see it for myself is that I'm also hang on, I've lost my count. The way that I see it is that they came here just like everybody else did. And so if they could have a helping hand now to give the family a hand, I think it's a great idea. Why is my count off? Just give me a second. I've lost my way somewhere along the way. Guess he's frogging all the way back. I only have 11 pieces and not 12. I lost my way on round number 4. So anyway, so that's where my stuff goes, and I don't want my stuff going to be for sale. I think when there's a family in need and money is not an option, I just don't think that they should be forced to pay for it. And the other thing, because I do get yarn, some yarn handed to me by Yarn Inspirations to teach with, the best I can do is to hand the project over to a family in need versus trying to sell something when they have given me the yarn to be able to work with it. And also that because I make monetization on Google for the video stuff, for me to charge for that sample that I'm teaching you to do, I don't feel right about that. I think it's not fair. So that's just my own thought pattern. Wow, I really effed up right from the very beginning. It's painful to watch. Sweetie, you're not sitting here. It's okay. What doesn't kill me just makes me stronger. How that? Oh, I see what happened. It was right, and I slip stitched. Right over it by accident. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I now got my 12 back. And now we start again. Okay, got to go give the bulldog a bath. Have a good one. At least you weren't almost done. I found a big mistake to rip it all out. It was pretty close, but I'll be faster now that I understand the pattern. Right. So I'm always looser on the first pattern, the first time through, and also slower. But then the second time through, I'm pretty fast because I understand the pattern. I think that's half the battle with patterns. Shell stitch is nice and easy. Somebody's commenting. I think it's to Wendy. From Georgia here, what are you making? I'm working on a baby bear bonnet and a teddy bear set. That sounds really cute. Cute. I always say, here's my thing. You don't know this because I don't tell them. So anyways, when I go to stitch night, they're saying, what are you working on? I said, crap. And then I go to my doctors and they say, what are you working on? And I say, crap. Like, it's kind of my thing. What are you working on? Crap. It's kind of my instant mouth. So a channel for 15 years, Peaches. That's a long time. We've gotten old together, Peaches. Well, at least I have. These newer people coming along are like the new generation coming to be. I'm having a little bit of a mental, and maybe you can comment to this as well. I'm having a bit of a mental thing with these new influencers that are coming along. And what they do is they create a situation to cause a reaction to happen. So whether they prank people or they purposely say something that they know is offensive just to cause a reaction to make content, that is really bothering me a lot these days. Now, when our Karen and I are kind of playing on camera, which I guess is considered probably the same thing. But I was somewhere. Where was I? I was somewhere, and there was a content influencer, and she was purposely doing the opposite on how she felt, just to get her audience to communicate with her. And I'm like, that is so insincere. Like just to cause the clicks, and I hate that. It bothers me so much. You have no idea. I saw another influencer. They were intentionally wearing a really crude shirt in the public just to see if, and they had their camera in a kind of hidden format to see if anybody would comment. So they put out a message saying, I'm just seeing if anybody's going to react to my shirt. And they sit there with the camera. And in this case, nobody reacted to the shirt. And so at the end of the day, they said, well, everybody seems to love my shirt. And because nobody said anything. And I thought, oh, sweetie, nobody cares about you. But it was intentionally just to kind, because if anybody would have reacted, it would have been content for that person, which is what they were hoping for. And so I really hate the idea of the name influencer. It really bothers me a lot. I do influence people in the sense of like your projects and stuff, but I hate the idea that people intentionally cause harm or they cause something like that to happen in order to make content. And that really bothers me. You have no idea. That's an eye roll from me. Because then for me, it kind of tells me that is that when they need to be sincere about something, are you going to believe them, or is it like the boy that cried wolf? Like, so if they have something happen and they cause somebody, maybe punch them in the face, whose fault is that? Is it their own because they were provoking others? And then they step back and say, well, that wasn't my fault. And I'm like, you are the ones that are creating this shit. So you don't need to do that. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of that's where I've been kind of going with that as well. So Crosby, 13-year-old. I am a 13-year-old boy who loves, Crosby. I am a 13-year-old boy in Texas who loves your videos. This is my first time catching you on a Stitch Social. I am at my school. I teach teenagers on how to crochet. Okay, all the power to you. You know, when I was your age, Crosby, is that I always vowed that if I ever was in a place of influence, that we change the color of the tools. So I've come from a time period where all the tools were pink and very girly. And so if I ever had that in my hand when I was your age, it would be like the instant bullying. And so I like how the tools now are more neutral. And it's something that I wanted to change in the industry if I could. So congratulations, you're giving somebody a lifetime skill. And even if they don't stick with it, you never know in their lives that they may turn to it again, knowing that you taught them the first time. So I find there's a lot of absentee crochet, especially mothers. You know, they're busy with childhood, our children and stuff, but then they eventually, if they're meant to be, they come back to the craft when there's more time and there's more money, because you obviously need yarn, which costs money. So whether you buy baby diapers or yarn, obviously the diapers are going to be the thing for obvious reasons, right? So I think that's why a lot of people start picking up crochet when they realize they have a grandchild on the way, because now they have the time to learn and they have the resources too. So Elizabeth got called Jumbo because he used jumbo crayons. Oh, I hate childhood. But This might be really mean that when you see the popular kids and like you'd pray that they'd get pregnant or fat, just to lay off on how cruel they were. I know that's not right, but it's true. And then when you eventually see them in your adult years, it's like, okay, then life's been rough to you. Enjoy the ride. So I'm a little bit vindictive in that manner. I went through a lot of serious crap in high school, and I would never, it's part of my lifetime that I would never repeat twice. And once I finally graduated high school, it was like, see ya. Yeah. And you agree that popular kids don't age well. And usually, you know, the popular kids are on the smoking and they're on their drugs or they're on alcohol or something. And so it just wears them down a lot faster. For me, I was just more of a Poindexter, more of a geek than anything. And probably still am in my own quirky way, which is fine now. I can accept that. So you laughed so hard when your bully was arrested for shoplifting. One of the bullies that I had ended up being arrested and in prison, and he got killed in prison. I mean, oh, it's so bad. Anyway, what he did was just ridiculous. But you know what? He had such a terrible attitude. I was not surprised he got arrested. But I was surprised he got knocked off, though. I guess somebody else is bigger. There's bigger fish in the sea, and he met the bigger fish. Oh, I don't even know. It's probably not funny, but it kind of is. So that chirping is a chipmunk if you hear that. So karma is a witch. Some of my schoolmates actually kind of felt sorry for him after he got knocked off. And I'm like, you were in school like I was. Like, what are you talking about? Confession time. One of my mean moments was when I found out my bully got cancer, and before I knew the words couldn't happen. Before I knew it couldn't happen to a better guy. That's real. That's real mean. But I think a lot of people get bullied, and maybe some of the bullies are trying to live up to a reputation that they know they can't do, so they gotta bully other people. I don't know. I don't know what's with that. So I work with my studio door open because it's summertime. I was teased young age to buck teeth and big ears. It just sticks with you, doesn't it? Like you just never forget that stuff. So anyway, I did run into somebody and they were like, wow, you're kind of like this big deal in the crochet field. And I said, you know what, if it wasn't for you and what you did to me, I probably would have never found this craft. So thank you so much. And so things happen for a reason. So because of the trajectory of being bullied, I found crochet to quieten my mind instead of me hurting myself. And so their bullying actually basically turned my pain into something useful. Does that make any sense? So I think a lot of people on this chat today has been bullied in some way. What's that tell you? It just tells you a lot of it tells you that I don't know how you get rid of that out of high school though. So, and it's part of growing up too. My mom, when I became 13, and this is just before I went into high school, she handed me a laundry basket and says, "You're doing your laundry now." And basically, I got myself a job so I could buy myself some clothes. And because, you know, you don't make a lot of money, so you're going to the thrift shop to buy your clothes. And mom taught me a lot about being independent, which is a good thing in retrospect. But because you're not wearing the designer clothing, it just makes you a target. And for myself, because I had to buy my stuff, it's like you have a choice: $70 pair of jeans, or you can get them for $15.99 somewhere else, and they're not designer with no label. And so I chose the cheaper option because that's what made sense for me. And does your clothing in the long term of what you wore define who you are? That might be the question. I was talking to, I don't know who it was yesterday. And I said, you know, whenever you see TV and the family's poor, there's always crochet in the background. And I said, even TV projects like crochet, like what we're doing is for some people that are needy or poor. And I'm like, God, I said, there's so much more to crochet than just charity. I said, people, it's a way of expression, and it's a way of making your own stuff. So I don't know, but I never had kids, and so I really can't complain. So I have bypassed all of that. I know there's a lot of fighting about what the schools do with the kids today, but I'm like, I'm not even part of that conversation because I never had them. So it was the best decision for me. I'm finding more and more people that I run into have decided not to have kids. And it was the right decision for themselves. Okay. That is another front post. Okay, my phone's going off. I have to go. We hope that you had a great afternoon. Keep on hooking, and we'll see you again another time. And I hope that you have a great day, and try not letting the small stuff get in the way of you being successful. And whatever you do, just stay off all of those chat lines that make you mad. And don't quote me on that, because I can't avoid watching the train wreck either. Have a good one, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye-bye.